O Mother, sentient beings, limitless as the sky, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles. My path to liberation and all-knowingness, may they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them. State of the most perfect and precious Bodhi, all Mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness. May they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious Bodhi. All Mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness. May they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious Bodhi. Thus, until I achieve Buddha, I engage in virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind until death. I engage in virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind from now until this time tomorrow. I engage in virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, most excellent, I take refuge until Bodhi is reached. By the merit of generosity and other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood. For the sake of all wandering beings in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, most excellent, I take refuge until Bodhi is reached. By the merit of generosity and other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood. For the sake of all wandering beings in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, most excellent, I take refuge until Bodhi is reached. By the merit of generosity and other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood. For the sake of all wandering beings. May all Mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, have happiness, and the causes of happiness, may they be liberated from suffering, and the causes of suffering, may they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from the bias of attachment and aversion. May all Mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, have happiness, and the causes of happiness, may they be liberated from suffering, and the causes of suffering, may they never be separated from their happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from the bias of attachment and aversion. May all Mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, have happiness, and the causes of happiness, may they be liberated from suffering, and the causes of suffering, may they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from the bias of attachment and aversion. Bajra Samaja, Bajra Samaja, Bajra Samaja. protectors of all sentient beings without exception, deities who vanquish the ruthless hordes of Maras, knowers of everything as it is, Bhagawans and your retinues, please come here. Argyam padyam pushpe dupe aloke gende nivede shabda pratitya soha. This ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, four continents, sun and moon, I hold in mine as a Buddha land and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure realm, whatever slight virtue that may have been gathered through prostrating, offering, confessing, rejoicing, requesting, and beseeching, I now dedicate to complete Bodhi. Now please turn to the Mahamudra manual. On page 3, sitting on a comfortable cushion in the Vajra cross-legged posture, straighten your spine. Place both hands in the gesture of meditative equipoise below the navel. Gaze at the tip of the nose. Let your tongue lightly touch the upper palate. Leave your teeth and lips in their natural position, and let breath flow comfortably. Recently, I shared a document on the daily Mahamudra practice WhatsApp group, an excerpt from one of the 6 Yogas of Naropa texts, connecting each of these physical postures, physical points, to the way in which the different energies called winds. And they're called winds because they move like winds. So these different types of energies, how they course through the body, and how by placing the body in a particular way can facilitate these winds more naturally entering into the middle channel or the central channel. When these energies are moving and coursing through the other channels, it is said that the minds that ride on these energies, ride on these winds, are obscured, are stained. But when the winds enter, when these energies enter the central channel, the middle channel, then the minds that ride on these winds are pure, without the stains. While there are many potent methods as well that uses force, uses control to push all these energies into the central channel, these 7 points of Vairochana is a gentle way to encourage these energies to enter the central channel, the middle channel, the middle way. By assuming this posture, now relax both exhalation and inhalation, little by little, without exerting, without forcing. Let breath exhales and inhale just as it is. Let the energies that coincide with your breath naturally enter into the central path, the central channel. Breathe in, breathe out, without hurry, without rush. Furthermore, these instructions tell us that where the mind goes, the energies gather. And so if you can place your mind in that place that is 4 fingers below your navel, your belly button, around that vicinity, as your mind gathers there, as moments and moments of minds gather there, then the energies, the winds also gather there. And once they gather there, they can more easily go up the central channel. So as a gentle technique, again, without exertion, without force, just place your mind at the secret chakra, the secret center, which is about 4 fingers below your belly button. Let all these momentary minds gather there. Then contemplate the difficulty of obtaining the freedoms and advantages. Having obtained these, be aware of impermanence and death. Then trust in the unmistaken workings of karmic cause and effect, and see clearly all the faults, all the disadvantages of confused existence, of samsara. Among the specific practices of the preliminaries, these up to this point are called the common preliminaries. Then 2 uncommon preliminaries are especially highlighted by Gyoba Rinpoche and in the early Kagyu tradition, which is the practice of clearing, removing the obscurations, the stains that arise from the breaking of, the damaging of, the compromising of the individual liberation precepts, the Bodhisattva vow, and the Vajrayana Samayas, Doing that through the practice of Vajrasattva, by relying on the four powers. That being one of the preliminaries emphasized. And the second specific preliminary emphasized is the accumulation of merit and wisdom through the offering of the mandala. So one side, to clear, to abandon that which needs to be abandoned, put aside. And second, to bring forth, to grow, to manifest the qualities that are already there, but hidden. So although these are two practices, but they are really two sides of the same coin, two sides of the same hand. To clear the stains is to manifest the qualities. To manifest the qualities is to clear the stains. When we offer mandala, think of all the riches that we're talking about. Think of all the wonderful things that we are offering to be merely the outer aspects of the innate qualities that we already possess. But because we don't understand this, we walk around like we are poor. We walk around with poverty mind. We walk around like hungry ghosts. And we lament and we complain about the lack of resources, the lack of qualities. And these qualities we possess. So even though we say in mandala offering, we are perfecting the two accumulations, the accumulation of merit and the accumulation of wisdom. From the perspective of the essence, we are not adding to our Buddha nature. For our Buddha nature, as it is already complete and perfect. But on the outer level is obscured. Now please turn to page 9. These are the instructions for the mandala offering. So it says here, for this mandala offering practice, there are two parts to it. There is the mandala of accomplishment and the mandala of offering. For the first, the mandala of accomplishment, which is the objects of offering, which is the presence of the guru, root and lineage gurus, in the form of Vajradhara. Then the idams, then the Nirmanakaya Buddhas who have appeared in the world, will appear in the world, present now in the world. The Dharma, the sublime Dharma, especially the perfection of wisdom Dharma. And then the noble Sangha, the great Bodhisattvas, the great Arhats, and all the Dharmapalas and Dakinis. This is the mandala of accomplishment. Then the mandala of offering is the mandala that we offer. So here it says, for the first, the best mandala is made of precious materials. Middling ones are made of earth or wood. Mediocre ones are made of earth or wood. And if it is made of precious materials, it is suitable to offer a mandala 4 finger widths. So at least this big, the base. Or larger. Then if it is earth or wood, it is not suitable to offer one smaller than 1 cubit, which is about this big. This is more referring to, relevant to people who in the old days, are doing solitary practice, out in the wilderness, out in the mountains, in the caves. And so basically then for mandala offering, you find a rock surface. And then you do it, in any kind of rock and wooden surface that you can find in the conditions that you're living in. So that's what it's talking about. So Gilbert Rinpoche himself, when he was in retreat in this cave for 7 years, not continuous, I think for 3 years, and then he came out and he consulted some of his senior Dharma brothers on some difficult points, and then he went back in. But altogether 7 years in this place called Ejong. During that time, he said, he wasn't able to find any metal mandala plates, fancy ritual items he wasn't able to find. And all he could find was a very kind of oddly shaped, I think, stone surface that was very narrow and had a steep kind of ledge. And so he used that as his mandala offering. He also explained that later on, where he spent most of his time at the rest of his life was in this place called Drigong. So now the headquarters, so to say, of the lineage, Drigong Kagyu, in Drigong Til Monastery in central Tibet. The monastery itself is on a ledge, on a very steep surface of the mountain. And Gilbert Rinpoche said, and very narrow, and he said, this is the result of using a mandala surface that is shaped like that. And so then he said, it ripened to having, a place that is in a similar way. So many instructions tell us that, how the mandala is when we do mandala offering will also affect what kind of pure land we will be Buddhas in. And so this is one of the interdependencies. So anyway, whatever the mandala is, its material and form must be excellent. Wipe it clean so that it is free from stains, blemishes, and so forth. Just as the mandala is free from dust, think that the karmic, emotive, and cognitive obscurations of all sentient beings are cleared. And the karmic obscurations is the negative karma that will ripen. Emotive is talking about the kleshas, the obvious, the gross obscurations. Cognitive obscurations are the obscurations that prevent us from being able to exercise the quality of all-knowingness. And that's the one that prevents us from seeing the exact workings of cause and effect. At the 8th Bhumi, it said that the attainment of bodhisattvas at the 8th Bhumi with regards to the knowledge of the emptiness of persons is at the same level as the wisdom of Buddhas. Bodhisattvas at the 8th level, with regards to the knowledge, the wisdom, the understanding of the emptiness of persons, it is on equal ground with Buddhists. But with regards to the knowledge of the exact workings of cause and effect, that the cognitive obscurations are still present. And so bodhisattvas in the level of 8th, 9th, 10th bhumis are still obscured by these cognitive obscurations, and therefore cannot compare to that of the Buddhists. So what this tells us also is, and it's not just in Drigung, but in general Tibetan Buddhist understanding, knowledge of emptiness in relation to knowledge of exact workings of cause and effect, then knowledge or insight or wisdom of emptiness is relatively more attainable, will be attained first before the ability to see the exact workings of cause and effect. Now page 10, so the actual practice. So again, if you have these grains, then you need also saffron water, then mandala base. If you can find the symbol for the wheel, then it should face you, if you can find that. So then first you moisten, kind of lightly moisten your offering grains. So that way, one thing is it will clean these grains so that they are covered in saffron, and so makes them even more wondrous offerings. Saffron is said to have all kinds of medicinal qualities. So again here, this interdependence here is when you offer saffron, you also create the conditions for a healthy body. Of course, you cannot just hope that you'll have healthy bodies when in other areas the interdependence is not there. So you cannot just offer saffron and then do everything to wreck your health and expect the saffron to deliver everything. The saffron is one piece of the interdependence. So you moisten the grains. Then take some of these grains in your left hand. Place them in your left hand, like that. Then this mandala plate you hold with the wheel facing you. Then we have to clean the surface with the Vajrasattva mantra. So pick up some grains with your right hand, like this, holding with these 3 fingers. Oh, well, before you do that, first moisten this mandala plate with a few sprinkles or a pour of water, and then pick up some grains. Then with your wrist here, Om Baja Sato Samaya Manupalaya Baja Sato de la Batita de Lombo, Sutukaya Member, Supukaya Member, Andurato de Boisawat. Chilam Chilam Guru Bhagavan Zabadana Bazaraza dosa Samaya Sato. Then here, Om Bhajra Bhumi Ahung in this text, kind of unique because in the later manuals, Om Bhajra Bhumi Ahung is part of the mantra that you recite for the mandala of offering. But here in our text it says, say this here, and then, and the meaning is, the ground, the bhumi, the ground is vajra-like, immovable. So then what does this represent? Our hearts, our mind, the immovable heart and mind, immovable, kind of what makes it immovable? Devotion. Immovable devotion. Upon this immovable devotion, upon this immovable mind, this heart, stable, unmoving, right? We call the presence, we invoke, we invite the five objects in particular. If you count the Dharmapalas, then it's 6 groups, but otherwise 5 here, 5 heaps. So it says, imagine that upon an excellently arranged seat sits the Guru in the form of Vajradhara, the embodiment of all Buddhas. So one pal right in the center. Then in front, one heap, one pal, which is the Idam deities. In the southern direction, one heap, which is the Buddhas that have appeared in this world, will appear in this world, currently in this world. One pal, the sublime Dharma, in the western direction. And then one pal, finally, the noble Sangha jewel. And now that it has a better shape, if you want to make the central pal a little higher, you can add some. Now think that, in all the spaces in between, right? The Dharmapalas, Viras, Dakinis are all gathered. So now this mandala of accomplishment, you put in the space in front. If you don't have 2 of these mandala plates, then this mandala of accomplishment, you can still do what we just did and then sweep it all towards you, or no need to do what we just did, but start with the mandala of offering, which is the next part. So for the second offering mandala, if you have another mandala plate, it says leave the previous one as it is. Then if not, just visualize the assembly in the space before you. And now, the offering mandala, again, look for the wheel if that design is on your mandala plate. Then again, we have to clean the second mandala, so put some saffron water, and again with the Vajrasattva mantra, and think, we are cleaning, clearing the 3 obscurations, karmic, emotive, and cognitive obscurations, not just of ourselves, but all beings. Om Vajrasattva Samaya. Now in the center is Mount Meru, one heap. In the eastern direction, Purva Videha. In the southern direction, Jambudipa. In the western direction, Apparakodaniya. In the northern direction, Uttarakuru. Then sun and moon. Sun is between the eastern continent and Mount Meru. Moon is between Mount Meru and the western continent. And then add more to it, which is imagine the filled to overflowing with the glorious and perfect riches of gods and humans. Imagine inconceivable clouds of offerings arising like they do in the complete liberation account of Bodhisattva Samantabhadra. So the basic offering mandala has been assembled. Now, remember, right? We have to turn clockwise so that the wheel is now facing the mandala of accomplishment. Now take some rice, some grains to hold in your right hand. So there are some grains in your left palm, there are some grains in your right palm. This extra grain that is now in your right palm, at the end of the first offering, we add to the mandala plate to be the basis of the next offering, and so on and so forth. So now, at the base of page 11, this ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, four continents, sun and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land, and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To you, sublime gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. To you, idam deities, and you, noble three jewels, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. O Gurus, idams, and noble three jewels, I pray that you generate supreme realization within me. Take a little bit more grains, put in your right palm. Back to page 11. This ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, four continents, sun and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land, and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To you, sublime gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. To you, idam deities, and you, noble three jewels, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. O Gurus, idams, and noble three jewels, I pray that you generate supreme realization within me. This ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, four continents, sun and moon, I bring to mind as a Buddha land, and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To you, sublime gurus, I offer my body, possessions, roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. To you, idam deities, and you, noble three jewels, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. O Gurus, Idams, and Noble Three Jewels, I pray that you generate supreme realization within me. This ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, fog, continent, sun, and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To you, sublime Gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. To you, Idam deities, and you, noble Three Jewels, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. O Gurus, Idams, and noble Three Jewels, I pray that you generate supreme realization within me. This ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, fog, continent, sun, and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To you, sublime Gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. To you, Idam deities, and you, noble Three Jewels, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. O Gurus, Idams, and noble Three Jewels, I pray that you generate supreme realization within me. This ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, fog, continent, sun, and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To you, sublime Gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. To you, Idam deities, and you, noble Three Jewels, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. O Gurus, Idams, and noble Three Jewels, I pray that you generate supreme realization within me. This ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, fog, continent, sun, and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To you, sublime Gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. To you, Idam deities, and you, noble Three Jewels, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. O Gurus, Idams, and noble Three Jewels, I pray that you generate supreme realization within me. This ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, fog, continent, sun, and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To you, sublime Gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. To you, Idam deities, and you, noble Three Jewels, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. O Gurus, Idams, and noble Three Jewels, I pray that you generate supreme realization within me. This ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, fog, continent, sun, and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To you, sublime Gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. To you, Idam deities, and you, noble Three Jewels, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. O Guru, Idams, and noble Three Jewels, I pray that you generate supreme realization within me. This ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, fog, continent, sun, and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land, and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To you, sublime gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. To you, idam deities, and you, noble three jewels, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. O Gurus, idams, and noble three jewels, I pray to you, generate supreme realization within me. This ground sprinkled with scented waters, strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, far continent, sun and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land, and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To you, sublime gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. To you, idam deities, and you, noble three jewels, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. O gurus, idams, and noble three jewels, I pray that you generate supreme realization within me. This ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, four continents, sun and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land, and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To you, sublime gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. To you, idam deities, and you, noble three jewels, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. O gurus, idams, and noble three jewels, I pray that you generate supreme realization within me. This ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, four continents, sun and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land, and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To you, sublime gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. To you, idam deities, and you, noble three jewels, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. O gurus, idams, and noble three jewels, I pray that you generate supreme realization within me. And on page 13 it says, at the end of the session, dissolve the field of accumulation or the field of accomplishment into yourself and rest in the profound meaning of inseparability. So first, before we dissolve the field of accomplishment, the mandala of accomplishment, so first then, this mandala of offering, we sweep this towards ourselves, seeing this as the field of accomplishment, giving us all the blessings that have arisen, all the merit that has arisen from the offering. Then, if you have the mandala of accomplishment as well, then you pick that up and do the same. But now, instead of thinking about receiving the blessings, the merit, is the inseparability between the field of accomplishment or merit or accumulations and yourself. So some modification that you can do when doing this mandala offering is that you can also include the doing of prostrations associated with the mandala offering. And how you do that is after you have created, if you have the mandala of accomplishment, you have assembled the mandala of accomplishment. So then you place it on the shrine, right? Then the mandala of offering, after you have assembled the mandala of offering, you put it on a table, a lower table in front of the shrine, maybe with a bigger plate underneath it. Then instead of holding this mandala, you place it inside this bigger plate on this table in front of the shrine. Then just with palms together or with the mandala mudra. And what you can do if it's better, to hold the mandala mudra. And each time you hold the mandala mudra, you take a little bit of the grains, you put on both sides of the palm, and you do the offering. At the end, towards the end, you transfer from left hand to right hand, and right hand, you add, you put onto that mandala of offering. And then if you want to add a prostration, you do one prostration, whether full prostration or the 5-point prostration, you do that. And then again, you pick up grains, put both sides, do this, put. Right? If you don't do the prostration, you can still put the mandala plate on that table in front. Then you put it closer to you, or you sit closer if you're not going to do prostration because you're not going to get up. And then you put it closer, so then you can reach and just put the offerings. And that may be a good option if holding it in your hands the whole time. It's a strain on your wrist. Some of us may have wrist issues, and then you can place it on that smaller table in front of you, in between you and the shrine. So that's one way to do this. So do you have any questions? I just turn on the ability, your ability to unmute yourself. I think now I'm just going to generally take away that ability because some of your phones and your iPads are possessed by spirits. They will mysteriously turn on your audio. As I said in the message, it's not so much a distraction for us. It's just that without you knowing, Zoom has highlighted you completely. And then for several minutes, it's staring at you in the recording, and it'll turn up in the recording. And you may not like that, So go ahead if you have any questions about this mandala offering practice. Even if you, if the power to unmute yourself has gone away, the way you ask questions is raise your virtual hand, which Judy's computer is possessed by the hand-raising spirit. But that's okay. Raising the hand won't cause Zoom to highlight you. Yes, go ahead, Judy. You have the power to unmute is on. You have to unmute yourself.
Compassion, the generation of compassion, and I do the trulko, or the position of like trying to really feel the suffering of someone that doesn't recognize cause and effect, right? Immediately I went to recognize that that is also my situation. Um, I don't know if that is something that I should be focusing if I'm generating compassion. Like when I do this practice, I tend to see myself when someone like is violent to me, I tend to react violently. So I see myself in the same situation as this person. So is I don't know, like I always tend to see myself as the one pity in the pity position. Um, I don't know if it makes sense if I continue to focus in in my pitiful position or in the pitiful position of the other.
That is fine. Yeah. Always have to start somewhere, But know the intention of the practice. The intention of the practice is to then, on the basis of seeing that the on the basis of seeing, the difficulty of that, and then we understand, oh, how difficult it is for others. And then you have to, at some point, but no need to rush it, but at some point you make that switch. And you say, if I, a Dharma practitioner, is in that kind of situation, how much more, the people who don't have Dharma. Yeah.
And regarding prostrations, um, I tend to do the Om Ahum, and when I do the full prostration, I tend to recite the or have in mind the seven branches, or like uh, I haven't done the practice of the mandala, but I tend to do this. And uh, can I can I do the practice of Vajrasattva like, or is it one, is it compart, is it one part is like Vajrasattva first then prostration, or is it can be the same practice?
According to our text, it's Vajrasattva and then it's mandala offering.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rinpoche, just to let you know, I have to muted you because I don't know what is happening now right now with Zoom, because when you are unmuted, it's in and out the audio. So maybe if you, Judy, you want to try again your question.
I think I got too much water in my rice, so my plate is really dirty and sticky. Do we not clean it after we finish as part of the ending of the practice? Can't hear you.
Yeah, sure. It's general maintenance.
My question is, I don't have to wait. I can do it as part of the practice at the end of the practice.
I mean, after you dedicate and everything, then you walk up and go to the sink and clean. I mean, it's just a practical thing. But before dedication, if you're continuing on to do other practices, I don't know, do you need to go to the kitchen and go clean up and yeah, anyway, so yes, Zoom impermanence, illusory nature. Things sometimes work this way, sometimes work that way. Anyway, so now these are the preliminaries. Then following the preliminaries, so according to the text that we are using, then now we are in the first of the Fivefold Mahamudra, which is the practice of cultivating bodhicitta on the basis of having strong loving kindness and compassion. With regards to these three, it's always very good to first focus more on cultivating loving kindness. And there is the allure to go to compassion because it feeds this experience of suffering. And then those of you with your Catholic background also be a little bit careful with this. The idea that suffering is good, No, there's nothing good about suffering. But then you might kind of emotionally want to go there, You feel like I'm more spiritual if I'm, feeling miserable and suffering, feeling bad about myself, but no. And so even without the Catholic background, even without that, Gilbert Rinpoche himself, his own experience, he says, loving kindness, keep developing that. And then when the time comes to train in compassion, then compassion training can be a lot less tricky. So, if the steed of loving kindness and compassion does not run for the benefit of others, it will not be rewarded by gods or humans. Attend earnestly, therefore, to this foundational attitude. Then after that, it's the creation stage, which is the next two parts of the Fivefold Mahamudra. The first one being cultivating idam. So on page 25, if with one's body the king of deities exalted forms, the stronghold of the unchanging ground is not seized, the retinue of Dakinis will not assemble. Attend earnestly, therefore, to this body as idam. So we have very briefly tasted, this practice of idam, which at your own pace, in your own time, continue to develop this. As I said, this program of daily practice, I do not claim and I do not think of it as, once we have finished, you have done your Fivefold Mahamudra practice. But this is like a taste of what the Fivefold Mahamudra is. So if you want to really focus on this, after this kind of one round through, you may want to then be ready to move to the mountains, into the forest. By then, maybe the forest hermitage will be more ready for you. So just to speak briefly about that, that is how I envision sort of what life is like if you live there or if you come for extended periods. It's like as a daily reference point is the Fivefold Mahamudra, and then fold it into the Fivefold. Of course, many potentially other things. Other things may come and go, okay, now we should practice this or that, but all under this larger organizing system which is the Fivefold Mahamudra, which is really the essence of what Kyoba Rinpoche emphasized. Whether it's a very brief practice, very extensive practice, it's all under the framework of the Fivefold Mahamudra. And it's hard, to really have a sense of the Fivefold Mahamudra. If we were to do it, I feel, maybe I'm wrong, if we were to do it with, say, the main text that is used today, which is Dhammakirti's text, because the way that one is done, then most teachers would say you have to finish all the 100,000s, or even at the very least, some teachers may say you have to finish the 10,000s. And in that way of learning it, I'm sure, has its strengths and benefits, because it's basically adapting a curriculum that was meant for intensive practice of like a year retreat, 3 years retreat, adapting that to our situation. So many Dugong Lamas would do, a 7-year program, or but I feel that perhaps becomes very diffused. So I'm not saying what I'm doing here is stronger, better, but just another way to give you a taste, an overall taste, of what this is. So far from saying, oh, now we have finished the bodhicitta section. We have finished knowing something about the bodhicitta section. We have finished, for now, knowing a little bit about the idam section. And now we look at the Guru devotion section. And so on page 33, it says, our precious Lord said, if on the Guru, the snow mountain of the 4 kayas, the sun of devotion fails to shine, the river of blessings will not flow. Attend earnestly, therefore, to this mind of devotion. So these stanzas famously were composed by Kyoba Rinpoche using 5 imageries. First one is horse racing. Second one is the king in his court. And then this third one is the snow mountain and the rivers that flow from the snow mountain. So the river that flows is the river of blessings. And without those blessings, we cannot realize Mahamudra, which is the next of the Fivefold, the natural state Mahamudra. Natural state Mahamudra, in terms of the creation and completion stage, then that's called completion stage without characteristics. Completion stage with characteristics is not emphasized in the usual Fivefold Mahamudra. Completion stage with characteristics is done, for example, now, generally speaking, in the Devungkagyu, like 3-year retreat program that they offer, you do the completion stage with characteristics after you have finished the Fivefold Mahamudra. And you do that as an enhancement practice. The creation stage and the completion stage with characteristics. Those are the yogas of Naropa. So in terms of the 3-year retreat schedule, that's like, into 1.5 years or so, maybe somewhere around there, when the main Fivefold Mahamudra text, the Dhammakirti text from the 17th century, when all of that has been completed, right? All the 100,000s, and then each of the Fivefold, there's also numbers assigned, how many recitations you have to do for each. So like the bodhicitta part, there's specific recitations and prostrations, 100,000. Then in the idam, 400,000 of the main mantra of the male deity, then at least 100,000, of the female deity, and then depending on lamas, and there are also the mantras of the 4 dakinis, at least 10,000 each. So you complete all of those, and then you go to Guru Yoga, and then Guru Yoga has 4 in the text that is used today for the Fivefold Mahamudra, most commonly used. In there's 4 levels of Guru Yoga, the Nirmana Kaya, Sambhoga Kaya, Dharma Kaya, and Swabhavika Kaya. Here in our text, interestingly, only 3 kayas, and the 4th kaya is not included here. So then in the 4 kayas, the one that is used today, then again, each of them, 100,000 recitation for each of them. So in the 3-year retreat that is done today, like you finish all of that, then you do completion stage with characteristics, with Vajrayogini as the main idam, Vajravarahi. So that in the Fivefold Mahamudra text, even Varahi, of course, is there, is part of co-emergent, right? Jagasamvara. But mainly the focus is on the male aspect of Jagasamvara, on Heruka. Then Vajravarahi takes center stage when you do the 6 yogas. Yeah, so just to give you an understanding of all the differences. Yeah? So here, again, here in our text on page 33, quoting the famous song, the 3rd stanza, the Guru is symbolized, represented by the snow mountain. The snow mountain of the 4 kayas. Then the sun of devotion is our devotion, needs to shine strongly so that it will melt, right, the snow on this snow mountain, so that the river of blessings will flow. And with these blessings, it's possible to recognize nature of mind, which is one of the crucial steps in the next of the Fivefold Mahamudra. Generally speaking, in the Kagyu tradition, and especially among the early Kagyupas, they're very suspicious of the idea that you can realize and see nature of mind using your intelligence. And using the power of deduction and using logic. It says that at best, what you end up with is a facsimile, a photocopy, a picture of nature of mind, and at worst, a distorted picture of this nature of mind. If you try to get to it from the place of I'm going to read more, I'm going to think more, I'm going to rationalize more, I'm going to logically think through this, I'm going to write it all down and figure it out, I'm going to debate until I get it. It says that all of these will not help. That the real kind of supporting condition for realizing Mahamudra, which is realizing the mind, which is realizing the emptiness of the mind and the clarity of the mind, and the actual taste of it can only happen with this condition called devotion, in Tibetan mogu. We have talked a little bit at the beginning of this program that in the Tibetan language there are 2 terms that sometimes are interchangeably translated as devotion in English or faith. So we, because different translators use different English words and by extension Spanish, So faith and devotion sometimes is used interchangeably, and then also conviction or confidence. So obviously all these three words in the Western languages, they are related. Likewise, even in Tibetan, they are related. But in particular in Tibetan, there are two words, depa and mogu. What we here translate as devotion, the third of the fivefold, is the Tibetan word mogu, not depa. Depa, often translated as faith, is better translated as conviction. So when they discuss, the three types of conviction, the conviction that arises from admiration, the conviction of wanting to possess those qualities, all those are depa, conviction. Here in Mogu, there is an element, an important element in Mogu is reverence, a reverential attitude. So it's a humble, right, and a surrendering of sorts, you could say, of the self. And so there is a strong element of this, often translated as respect, but really is reverence, revering, a reverential heart towards the Guru. So this is an element here, but we'll learn more because this concept or this organizing idea of Mogu, especially among the early Kagyupa masters, even though it begins with this reverential heart, this kind of lowering of one's pride, lowering of one's ego, so to say, in the presence of the guide. But it's not limited to that. You will see as we practice, as we learn more about this, that it even includes things like what is devotion. So sometimes it said devotion is mogu, and then mogu in the Guru also includes, for example, trusting. The unmistaken nature of cause and effect is an element in Mogu. Yeah, so it's not, although it begins with, right, what we may recognize as devotion, as other religious traditions talk about, the way that people are devoted to Jesus, to the Virgin Mary, to Krishna. So there's that emotional side of Mogu, for sure. But that's just the beginning. So it falls in eventually, I would say, but it falls in for sure. Depa, conviction. Because one element of depa is depa towards, conviction towards the unmistaken nature of cause and effect. But that also turns up, in this Mogu. So in a way, Mogu is maybe, you could say, the way I think of it, it's an even larger category, even more encompassing category than depa, whereby depa becomes also an element. Conviction, trust becomes an element of what's called Mogu here, this mind of devotion. So there are many places in Gyalpa Rinpoche's teachings where he addresses Mogu. But one of the places where he more intentionally taught about Mogu and Mogu towards the Lama is in this text that I shared with you in the WhatsApp. So this text is an essentialized collection on treasuring the Guru's instructions. In Kyoba Rinpoche's biography, the first biography, the earliest biography that was compiled right after he passed away, and in which it said that Sherab Jungne, also known as Drigong Lingpa, basically composed that biography, and he presented that biography to all of his uncle's senior students, and they all agreed like this is a fair and reasonable and good account of the life of our Guru. And in that biography, Sherab Jungne mentions that Kyoba Rinpoche himself composed several texts. And this is one of the texts that Sherab Jungne names. So we can have conviction, faith. We can have confidence that these are his intentional words. Many of the teachings included in this collection now that we have, called the Kyopa Kambum, are notes written by others, when they hear Kyopa teach extemporaneously, they remember parts of it, then maybe later they go and they write it down. But in this case, this text is said that Kyopa Rinpoche actually composed. So I don't know if he actually wrote or if he dictated and someone wrote it down. So this is, but the point is, this is pretty intentional. And also in a way different from instructions, because in his collection of teachings, there are instructions that I think are specific to the situation of individuals and maybe don't universally apply. Whereas something that he purposely composed, we can say he intends for it to have a wider circulation. Yeah. I mean, of course, even that is not like universal application. Anyone, a non-Buddhist picking it up has relevance, but at least, within the context of community of practitioners, things that he intentionally composed, I think you could say he thinks, okay, this is more or less applicable to everyone. So then, especially like the genre of his teachings that have the word teachings to the assembly, Sokchu, those are also teachings that have general application to all Dharma practitioners. Or at the very least, all the Dharma practitioners training under Kyopa have faith and trust in Kyopa. So this text that I shared is only the first part. It's a longer text. The complete translation, the German group, Mark, one of the members of that group, has translated the entire text and has been published by the German efforts in Germany, in English, translated into English and published already. But this one is our DDIS translators during the pandemic. They worked on this in particular. I think Sean, maybe worked on this one, and then we further edited this, and this is the one part of it. And then almost, I would say, 80% of this text is also printed, published in this booklet. So if you have this booklet, it's here as well. But what I shared with you as a PDF has more than what's in here. It's just that what's in here, I chose a more logical cutoff point. So today we are not going to go into this. Tomorrow we will go into this text. So meanwhile, you can read, and then I will see you tomorrow. Remember that this week we only have today and tomorrow, and then next week we will only start on a Tuesday, because Monday is my travel day, and Wednesday this week is also my travel day. So now please go to dedication, our main Mahamudra manual on page 78. By the virtues collected in the 3 times by me in the entirety of samsara and nirvana, and by the innate root of virtues, may I and all sentient beings quickly attain the unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious Bodhi. Chanju Sem Chorim Poche Ma Ge Banam Ge Gyurche Ge Banyam Pa Me Bayang Gone Gong Du Bel Sure.
Thank you.